What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Backup Fantasy Sports. It is Friday, February 2nd. My name is Ewan, and on today's episode, we're going to get into some Fantasy Premier League with a Game Week 23 preview. Game Week 22 ended last night, but quick turnaround with the deadline tomorrow on Saturday, February 3rd, with the Everton and Tottenham game. So let's just hop right into it here. But first off, want to say thanks to the FSWA for nominating me as the finalist for Soccer Writer of the Year for the second year in a row. Hoping to bring home the crown this year. But yeah, honored to be a finalist along with Adam and Jack. They're two great writers of their own in the soccer space. So I think the results are coming out around the end of February, but hopefully I will be able to bring home the crown for Rotoballer, a fantastic website where I do rankings, game week preview, and a monthly watch list for Fantasy Premier League. If you don't know about that, go check that out. And also like and subscribe to the podcast and the channel. Getting into the actual preview here. So done patting myself on the back. So let's get over that. The fixtures here for game week 23. We got Everton Spurs kicking off the game week at 12:30 UK time. So that will be an 11 a.m. UK time deadline, 6 a.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. for me here in Germany. Then we've got another 4 games on Saturday, 4 games on Sunday, and 1 game on Monday night with Brentford, Man City, who will play each other twice in about the space of 5 weeks here, as Man City and Brentford do have a double game week confirmed in game week 25. Lots of good fixtures to watch, but Arsenal Liverpool could be a pretty big title decider here. As if Liverpool win, I am going to start backing them. I'm going to start believing that the Reds can do it. And if Arsenal lose, that could be them out of the title race already, with still 3 months to go in the league. Best teams over the next 6 fixtures here, according to the Fantasy Football Scout fixture ticker. Aston Villa, Brighton, Man City, Crystal Palace, and Arsenal are the top 5 teams. And the bottom 5 teams are all the teams with blanks in game week 26 due to the Carabao Cup final conflict. So Liverpool, Chelsea, Luton, Tottenham, and Everton. Everton are the only team without a blank there in the bottom 5, but they do play Tottenham, Man City, Crystal Palace, Brighton, West Ham, and Man United. So tough going for the Toffees as they now find themselves in the relegation zone after Luton had that insane win over Brighton in the middle of the week. But options here, Tottenham, I got highlighted as Richarlison, Pedro Porro, people bringing in James Maddison, Son Heung-min could be back from the Asia Cup anytime soon. But they blank, and they do have a fixture in game week 29, so that's good. But are you going to be bringing in assets for Tottenham when they have a confirmed blank? For Liverpool, it's slightly different. Maybe even for Luton, if they get a confirmed double game week in game week 25, that would be something to consider in still transferring them. I brought in Diogo Jota last week. He returned for me in game week 22, and I'm hoping that they have a fixture in a double game week in game week 25. But is that going to happen? This is it's starting to get down to it here, kind of down to the wire. So the Premier League likes to say that they'll give fans a few weeks. I think it's 4 weeks is what FPL James said on the Planet FPL pod. Usually try to give them 4 weeks so away fans can kind of change their travel plans, their transportation, all that stuff. So Ben Krellin here says Liverpool versus Luton hasn't been moved to double game week 25 yet. I'm about 75% sure that it will be announced tomorrow. He tweeted this yesterday, February 1st. If it isn't announced tomorrow, then Liverpool and Luton probably won't double in game week 25. This might be a clue that preparations are being made for Liverpool versus Luton to move to the Wednesday night in double game week 25. He links to a tweet from FPL Flat White, great name, that says that stadium tours have been booked out for that day, which could potentially be like a game day kind of thing. But then I also saw in the comments there that they said they called up customer service and they said, no, just all the tours are booked for that day. So we'll see. FPL people really go deep with their investigation. So there should be if there's going to be a double game week announced, it should be today, Friday, February 2nd. However, there is also the possibility that the double game week is going to be Bournemouth versus Luton, as they still have to make up that fixture that was postponed due to the medical situation with Tommy Locklear. So keep an eye on FPL Twitter, on the FPL app, all those fun spots to see any updates that may get announced before the deadline tomorrow on Saturday. So we're definitely going to have to keep that in mind. The only thing is, if Liverpool do not have a double game week in game week 25, the Premier League is putting themselves in a massive hole with what could happen to Liverpool's schedule. So Liverpool progress in the FA Cup, the Europa League, and they are still in the title race. James Morrison on Twitter at More Alexand, probably screwed that name up, but he kind of scripted out what a triple game week would look like for Liverpool in game week 37. So this is what if they reach every cup final. So May 9th, they would play the Europa League semifinal second leg. May 12th, they would play game week 37 match 1. May 14th, which is just 2 days later, would be game week 37 match 2. And May 16th would be game week 37 match 3, which would be Everton away. Planet FPL James said that is highly unlikely to happen, as that's Everton's last home game of the season. That could be the game where, if things kind of go the way they're going, or 22 game weeks into the season, that could be the game where Everton are confirmed to be relegated to the championship, and Liverpool could win the league in that fixture. So James thinks that there's no way that the police is going to like let that happen in the middle of a week on a Wednesday night where it's just suboptimal timing for a fixture like that to be in place. But regardless, let's just keep going with the scenario. May 19th would be game week 38, which would be Wolves at home for them, as for Liverpool as well. May 22nd would be the Europa League final, and May 25th would be the FA Cup final. So that would be 7 games from May 9th to May 25th. Premier League, you got to do the right thing here by the Reds. You cannot be putting them in this kind of schedule crunch, because you want them to do well in Europe. They're one of the biggest clubs in the country. So you want that title race to go down to the wire. Like, they would be playing May 12th, 14th, 16th, and 19th in the league. So I truly hope this does not happen. It would be pretty crazy for FPL purposes to have a triple game week in the second to last game week of the year. But I doubt it happens. I think the Premier League is going to do the right thing. That double game week should be announced today. FPL James also tweeted out yesterday, like, right now he's 90% sure it's going to happen, but kind of take away 2% every hour that it doesn't tick along, and then we'll see how it goes. But the consensus seems to be that there will be a double game week announced today. We're not entirely sure which one it's going to be. And if there's not one announced today, then double game week 25 may not happen at all. And that would put a bit of a spanner in kind of the machine of FPL, as a lot of people have been starting to bring in Liverpool assets to their squad. He's back. Erling Haaland has returned to the pitch after a 2-month layoff due to a not fracture, stress fracture in his foot. Thanks for that, Pep Guardiola. But he returned for 19 minutes versus Burnley on Wednesday night and still looked as dangerous as ever. So it's really scary to not have Erling Haaland in your FPL team. How do we get him back? So these are kind of the 4 forwards that most FPL managers have in their squad. And this is how we kind of are going to have to decide. So I've got on this graphic here Julian Alvarez, Darwin Nunez, Dominic Solanke, and Ollie Watkins. The 4 columns here are the price difference from then to Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland is currently 14 million in the game. He rose in the middle of this week, which is a whole other thing to get into. XGI per 90 over the last 6 for each of the forwards. The fixture difficulty rating according to the Fantasy Football Scout ticker, and the predicted points over the next 6 according to Fantasy Football Scout. So Julian Alvarez here, he has the biggest price difference from Erling Haaland, 7.1 million. Dominic Solanke is next at 6.9 million. Darwin is the guy after that at 6.5 million. And then Watkins is the guy who has the least amount of price difference between himself and Erling Haaland at 5.2 million. Does that mean that you want to get rid of Ollie Watkins? I'm not feeling great about him, but for me, I'm already tripled up on City. I already have Phil Foden, Julian Alvarez, and Guardiola in defense. So I have to get rid of Alvarez. So this decision is kind of easy for me, but hopefully this will help you guys out here. So fixture difficult or XGI per 90 over the last 6. This is in descending order. Darwin 1.28, Alvarez 1.02, Dominic Solanke 0.75, and Watkins 0.47. That's over the last 6 games. Their expected goal involvement per 90 minutes. Fixture difficulty rate in here. I have Solanke and Watkins both as first. That cannot be right. That is a miscue by me. Aston Villa are 5th here over the next 6. Darwin is in 20th. Alvarez is 3rd for Man City. Those are definitely accurate. Man City still have a double game week in game week 25. So they have the most fixtures over the next 6 game weeks, whereas Liverpool only have 4 or 5 because of the blank. Hopefully they will get up to 6 with that double game week announcement. And then here, predicted points over the next 6, we've got Julian Alvarez, 25.1, Darwin, 20.3, Watkins, 31.2, and Dominic Solanke, I believe, was in the 24 range, as I have forgotten to put that in there. So never mind. But anyways, regardless, I would rank them in my kind of Alvarez has to come out for me to get to Haaland. That's probably going to be my game week 23 transfer. But if you have Darwin, Solanke, and Watkins as your front line, I would hold off as long as possible to make this transfer. Hopefully, we get some news about a double game week 25. Watkins has fantastic fixtures over the next couple of months, so you'll probably want to hold him. You'll probably want him back as well. The thing is, he could have or could not have a fixture in game week 29, and that might be the thing that tilts us over the edge over whether to get rid of Watkins or not. Darwin Nunez and Dominic Solanke could both have a double game week coming up announced today, and that would kind of be the tiebreaker between those two for me. Darwin hit the post 4 times on Wednesday night, which is a Premier League record since they started recording that stat 21 years ago, I think the commentary team was saying. Insane. Mo Salah will be back in the future. Diogo Jota is phenomenal in form right now. He picked up a couple of knocks on Wednesday, so we'll have to keep that in mind at Jurgen Klopp's press conference later today. But yeah, Darwin, I'm not sure of his minutes. Dominic Solanke and Ollie Watkins are definitely over him in the expected minutes department there. Darwin could lose a couple of starts here with Diaz, Jota, Salah, Gakpo, all kind of vying for those 3 spots. Salah's not going to go anywhere once he gets fit, so he will be right back into the squad. But Darwin's XGI per 90 is phenomenal. His conversion rate is just kind of terrible at this point. So I think Darwin would be the guy out of my team for now to get Erling Haaland back in if I had the choice. Dominic Solanke would be 2nd, and Ollie Watkins would be 3rd. Watkins is just, he has an insane effective ownership right now at almost every tier and rank. I'm 225,000 in the world, and Watkins is about 89% owned. So not going against him, and he could just absolutely pummel your rank if he has a good day. So yeah, I think that's how I would rank it. I have to take out Alvarez to get Haaland back. That's probably going to be my game week 23 transfer unless we get some news that Haaland had a setback or something like that. But it would be Darwin 1st, Solanke 2nd, Ollie Watkins 3rd. There is still a lot of info to come out regarding fixtures for what we're going to figure out for this game week 29 blank that's coming around the corner. February 6th and 7th are the FA Cup 4th round replay results. So then on the night of the 7th, we will officially know all the actual ties of the FA Cup 5th round draw. And also on February 7th, the Asia Cup semifinals will have taken place. So we will know the finalists for there, whether Sung Hyung Min is going to be back shortly after the semifinals or wait around for after the final. Fifth round draw here for the FA Cup. There's not a lot of madness going on here, which is a tad disappointing, but it could mean that a lot of Premier League teams advance and cause a lot of blanks in game week 29. So Blackburn or Wrexham will play Newcastle. Actually, I think Blackburn won that game. Chelsea or Aston Villa have a replay against Leeds or Plymouth. AFC Bournemouth play Leicester. So that could be an upset, but Bournemouth look okay. I would still give them the edge there. Liverpool will play Watford or Southampton. Bristol City or Nottingham Forest will play Man United. Wolves will play Brighton. And then Maidstone will play Sheffield Wednesday or Coventry City, which does not involve any Premier League teams. And then Luton play at Man City. So only 2 all Premier League ties lined up as of right now. If Nottingham Forest beat Bristol City in the replay, they will host Man United to make another all Premier League team or tie, but these games will be played on the week of the 26th of February in the 5th round. What is game week 29 looking like right now? Saturday, 16th of March, 2024. These are the fixtures: Arsenal, Chelsea, Brighton, Man City, Burnley, Brentford, Crystal Palace, Newcastle, Everton, Liverpool, Fulham, Spurs, Luton, Nottingham Forest, Man United, Sheffield United, West Ham versus Aston Villa, and Wolves versus Bournemouth. The only 2 fixtures that are confirmed right now are Fulham versus Spurs and Burnley versus Brentford, as all 4 of those teams are out of the FA Cup. This graphic on the right here is from Will, who on X goes by Losers Have Losers. He's put up some fantastic graphics this year regarding the blanks for game week 29 that takes into account the bookies odds, kind of recent form, all that stuff. He's got fourth and fifth round odds going on in this graphic here. So he kind of, in descending order, he thinks the percentage or the chance that these fixtures will blank here. So Brighton versus Man City, 95% chance that blanks. That's because Man City and Brighton would both have to lose their FA Cup ties. Everton has already been knocked out by Liverpool. So Liverpool, they're playing Southampton or Watford. They would need to get upset in the cup at Anfield for that fixture to be a blank. Wolves versus Bournemouth, same deal as Brighton, Man City. Both of those teams need to lose for that fixture to go ahead. Crystal Palace, Newcastle, Man United, Sheffield United. Those 2 fixtures are both above 50% chance of a blank. One of these fixtures here, West Ham versus Aston Villa or Arsenal versus Chelsea, will be confirmed as a fixture after the 4th round replay, as Arsenal and West Ham are both out of the cup already, whereas Aston Villa and Chelsea play each other in the 4th round replay. So a lot of us have Cole Palmer. A lot of us maybe have Gusto, some other Chelsea assets, but many of us have Ollie Watkins as well. So that could be a swing in who we are taking out of our FPL lineups for game week 26, especially if Chelsea advance and they don't play 26 and they don't play 29. It could be time to say goodbye to Cole Palmer. Now, a lot of people have a lot of money tied up in him. So if you've kind of got him at the beginning of this run where he was 4-5, 4-7, or whatever he was when his form kind of starts pick up first, I would not get rid of Cole Palmer. However, if you've picked him up in the last month, you don't have that much money invested in him, it could be time to say goodbye to the phenomenal Chelsea asset. Watkins, I'm kind of just looking for a reason to get out of my team. So I'm kind of hoping that Aston Villa do win that game. So he blanks in game week 29 and I can have a reason to get rid of him. But right now, Will is expecting 5.4 expected blanks. So we'll have 5 fixtures, hopefully, in game week 29. Captaincy for game week 23 is on the horizon. And these are the 5 guys I have nominated: Haaland, Palmer, Richarlison, Solanke, and Watkins. I know some people want to put KDB in there. I'm not one of those people. Just don't trust the minutes, which is rich considering I have Erling Haaland on here and he's played 19 minutes of football in the last 2 months. But pay attention to those press conferences because we could get a pretty big hint from Pep Guardiola saying he came through fine. And if that's kind of what we get, I'm going to think he starts, and I'm probably going to captain Erling Haaland as I bring him back in to my FPL team. He plays Brentford on the road. They are the 10th or they are right in the middle for expected goals conceded over the last 6. Haaland still rocking a 0.94 XGI per 90 over his last 6 game weeks. Cole Palmer here, 5.3 predicted points according to the rotoballer.com rankings. Don't forget to go check those out. 0.98 XGI per 90 over the last 6. Wolves at home, who have the 7th best expected goals conceded over the last 6, although that does not count last night's fixture against Man United, as I could not get those numbers updated in time. Richarlison, he is expected to score 5.39 points against Everton on the road, the 12th worst defense for expected goals conceded over the last 6. Richarlison, 0.69 XGI over the last 90, or XGI per 90 over the last 6. It's a revenge game for Richarlison. And I think he's the kind of guy where that's going to matter. I think he's going to be ready to put the hurt on his former club. So that is also in consideration for me as a captain. I think he would be my second choice captain. Solanke here, 5.39 as well, 0.75 XGI per 90. Scored last night after a Calvin Phillips back pass that was horrendous. Nottingham Forest at home, they have the 9th best expected goals conceded defense over the last 6. But when Dominic Solanke played Nottingham Forest at the City Ground just a couple of months ago, he bagged a hat trick, and it was phenomenal. So are we really going to go against Solanke here as well? He's definitely going to be starting for my squad. Ollie Watkins, 5.64 predicted points. Actually, the most predicted points in the game this week, according to the rotoballer.com rankings. XGI per 90 over the last 6 of 0.47. So of these 5 guys, he has the lowest XGI per 90. His opponent is Sheffield United, so he actually has the best opponent as well, who are 13th for expected goals conceded over the last 6. Right now, still leading Haaland, unless we get word from Pep Guardiola that he is certainly not going to start in game week 23. Here are a couple of models and what I should do for my transfer this week in game week 23. Option 1 on FPLreview.com, Julian Alvarez to Haaland. Option 2 is Roll. Option 3 is Julian Alvarez to Darwin, which, if FPL counted missed big chances, I would definitely bring in Darwin. But Haaland converts his big chances, whereas Darwin seems to miss them. So I will probably roll with Haaland. Fantasy Football Hub also agrees with that as well. Sell Julian Alvarez, bring in Erling Haaland. And here's my squad right now. So FPL Review, Scout, Hub all have me kind of hovering in the 55 to 60 point range. I've manipulated these to have Haaland in my team. I haven't made that transfer yet. But right now for Game Week 23, I will play Dubravka in net against Luton at home, Trent, Gabriel, and Gvardiol at the back, Palmer, Saka, Richarlison, and Diogo Jota in midfield, which means I'm benching Phil Foden, which I don't really like that. But Jota is in just incredible form. Foden has been a little secondary now that KDB's coming back into the squad. So that's a little scary there. Maybe he kind of returns to flip and fill. Like, we're not really sure how many points he's going to score each week, how many minutes he's going to get each week. Could he come off at 45? Kind of tough. So Palmer at home versus Wolves, Saka at home versus Liverpool, Richarlison versus his former team, and a very informed Diogo Jota. So I've got to make a decision there about who to bench. I think the second guy I'd be most likely to bench is Saka, just because I'm not feeling benching headaches are the worst. So let me know what your benching headaches are in the comments below, and maybe we can work through this together this game week. Up top, I've got Solanke, Alvarez, and Watkins. I've got the captain's armband on Solanke right now, but it will be Erling Haaland when I bring him in. I'm anticipating a price rise tonight because he only got brought in by 35,000 people on Tuesday night, and it caused a price rise, which was kind of fire lit in the FPL community on X. But yeah, that's kind of my squad for game week 23. Let me know what you guys are looking at for your game weeks this week. But that is going to do it for this week's episode of Backup Fantasy Sports. Don't forget to follow me on X at UNFPL, where I tweet about F1, FPL, NFL, all the fun stuff coming your way. NFL or Formula One just dropping a bomb yesterday with Lewis Hamilton going to Ferrari. So that's going to be something I will break down on my next F1 fantasy video. But let me know if you liked today's episode, kind of did a different layout, different format. Um, and yeah, it will be a fun game week to break down. And I will be back next week with a game week 24 preview. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel or the podcast if you're listening on the audio side. But once again, thanks for listening, and I will talk to you next time.